It was music to be invaded by, music to mutate by, music to scream by. But 40 years after orchestrating the fears of moviegoers, the musical scores of many monster classics were lost. Enter two record producers on a quest to preserve the sound of monster music.
I'm a baby boomer, so to me, my babysitters were aliens and monsters and creatures and werewolves, so it was only natural when I grew up and I wanted to recapture the innocence of my youth that I would go back to all the terrors that helped me turn into who I am today.
Take people that have never even seen the movies before. They're going to witness beautiful, melodic music, powerful music, exciting, dramatic music.
Music that was nearly lost forever until MAYNE and SCHECTER began tracking down the artists who wrote these scary scores, composers like HERMAN, STEIN.
David thought that I had died because he had called ASCAP, and I think they told him that I had passed on. I was not dead, and I don't know if he was surprised or relieved.
He called one day, the very first phone call we got from him, and I picked up the phone and I said, "You're alive." So I went over to David and I said, "Hey, David, the dead guy's on the phone."
HERMAN STEIN may not be a household word, but how many film buffs know that Henry Mancini worked with Stein on Tarantula, and It Came from Outer Space, along with composer IRVING GERTZ.
It Came from Outer Space was, I think, the first of the very important science fiction pictures. In those days, there was no electronics like we have today. I wanted the music to really stand out and be important. I approach any picture from a dramatic point of view, and I don't like science fiction or science friction, as a friend of mine once called it, to be sound effects. It should help the mood of the thing. The purpose of music is to intensify whatever you're saying emotionally.
For SCHECTER and MAYNE, it was a search for lost treasure.
Henry Mancini's family helped us find some of Henry's music and some music that other composers had written at Universal that was buried underneath his house. Somebody else found a cache of music scores that were in this storage shed, which I guess sometime over the past 30 years had been invaded by rats.
After finding enough monster music to save, SCHECTER and MAYNE re-recorded the original scores with the Radio Symphony Orchestra of Krakow. The Polish musicians were enthusiastic about the monster movies, even if they didn't always understand them.
When we were having a goodbye dinner with the recording engineer and his assistant, and she leaned over to me and said, "What are these mole people?" And I said, "No, mole people."
2 albums were recorded, monstrous movie music and more monstrous movie music, and now they're invading music and video stores.
They rarely, if ever, got screen credit for their contributions, and so finally, at long last, everyone can know exactly who wrote what, when, and where.
Why this resurgence in these old pictures and the music particularly? I'm amazed, but very, very thrilled and very pleased, of course.